Homestead. And I was goofing around with Concho for a moment. The dog just doesn't stand still. He's always on the move. His biggest thing is chasing rabbits. So, anyhow, and he catches a few, believe it or not. But it's really fun to watch him, the rabbit run in between the trees. And then here he comes. I've been trying to get it on film, and it just happens so fast and so periodically. It's just so hard to record it. So anyhow. So, today I want to do an episode of Today with ArizonaHotHomestead. Got some great reviews last time. A lot of you talked about, we talked about changing the name of it to maybe like Concho's Corner. And I like that name a lot, actually, Concho's Corner. So let me know what you guys like. Which one you like best, Concho's Corner or Today with ArizonaHotHomestead? And just to refresh your memories, basically this is my version of a coffee chat. This is my version of a Q&A. This is my version of an update. This is my version of, let's just chat. So, Concho's Corner, I think, is what we're going to call it. Today's Concho's Corner, or Today with ArizonaHotHomestead, whichever you guys choose. What I like to do is I want to cover the one thing that has been asked ever since day one. And that has been permits, building codes, government intruding on your life. Well, I'm going to cover the basics of that. The details, you got to get in touch with your own county or your city or whoever governs your permits. But basically, I look at it this way. They're not a bad thing, folks. In fact, if you're that paranoid about permits and things, get off the internet, get rid of your cell phone, and because the government's watching you. They know what you do on your keystrokes, they know what you're texting and what you're saying on your phone. They may not be actively listening or watching, but they have that information available to them. If you're that paranoid, get off the internet, get off your cell phone, and go live in a cave, because they're going to be able to find you. So anyhow, permits are not a bad thing, and here's why permits are not a bad thing. Permits are not a bad thing because it does this. It increases the value of your property. Now, I know some of you don't care about the value of your property because, well, I'm never going to sell. I'm going to live in my home. I'm going to live in my off-grid property or homestead or whatever for 1,000,000 years. Never going to sell it. Well, eventually you're going to die, and hopefully you have a will, and you will will your property to family or friends. What if they don't want it? What if they do? Great. But what if also something happens in your life that you can no longer take care of your homestead? Like an illness or some other, well, basically when you get older, how many 90-year-old people are working and acting like they're 30 years old? Very few. So what happens is when you get older, you have to have some assisted living in some degree. And it's just life. It's the way things happen. So you may not be able to live on your homestead forever. Therefore, it'd be kind of nice to either maybe sell it and be able to get something for it. Now, what goes along with the selling it is also this. When someone goes out and buys a property with a tiny home on it or a tiny house on wheels or whatever, if they're looking at a piece of property that's all DIY, you have no idea how it's built. Have you guys been watching the other DIY stuff on the internet? Some of these folks, great, and yeah, they build some fantastic stuff. And then there's some, oh my God, what are they doing? I can't believe it's still standing 3 days later, you know? Building codes and permits are designed to make your structure safer, make your structure more durable and last longer and built to a standard. They use international building codes, IBC, as their standard. And then they adopt additional codes based on your region. So if you're prone to hurricanes or tornadoes or tsunamis or earthquakes or freezing or extra rain or whatever, then that kind of helps add on extra codes, if you will. But those are good because when someone goes to buy that property, they know if there was permits done on it, it's built to a certain standard, and it's probably pretty good quality. If it's not, well, I don't know. It may fall apart the next day. I may have electrical fire. Who knows? You've seen some of those videos about there, the way that they've been doing electrical stuff. They use like extension cords to run the power from their solar panels over to their batteries. Are you kidding me? I'm surprised that thing hasn't caught the grass on fire. But also, though, you're looking at, it will speed up the process of selling your home. So it will more likely sell if it was built with permits than it will if it wasn't. So you're going to speed up that process. Also, though, what you're looking at is you don't have to follow every single code out there. You don't have to get a permit for every single thing out there. Just get your basic permits to declare yourself as a residential property. And by declaring yourself as a residential property, it does a couple things for you. If you do have that emergency, like a heart attack, or maybe you fall off of the ladder or something and you got to call 911. Well, great, your cell phone has a GPS and they know where you're at, but they can't get there because they don't know the roads to that area. And when you register it as an occupied residence, then basically the roads and a map to the place is given to the emergency vehicle or the first responders, and therefore they know how now to get there. It saves amazing amounts of time on getting to you, and that could save your life. But you don't have to follow every single code either, because I bought a house many years ago in Phoenix, Arizona area. And when I bought this house, the house was roughly 1,800 square feet. The room that was added on was another 150 square feet. But he couldn't sell it as a 1,950 square foot house. He had to sell it as an 1,800 square foot house because he didn't get a permit for this add-on. This add-on, basically what he did was he took a patio and he enclosed the patio. Did a fantastic job of blending it in with the house so it looked normal. When you look at it, it looked like it was part of the original build. When I had the inspector look at everything, he says, as far as he could tell, it all was built to code. But there's stuff behind the walls you can't see, like some of the electrical wiring and things. And sure enough, one of the outlet boxes wasn't secured at all. It was loose, which potentially means wire could come loose now and you can end up with a fire hazard. So it's okay to build stuff without following every single permits. That guy did it. He was still able to sell his house. I was still able to buy it. No one was charged any kind of fees or anything, and no one went to jail or anything like that. So as long as you're following your basic stuff to reside your place, you're good to go. One additional thing, and this comes from someone who dealt with insurance for quite a few years. If it's not permitted, Concho. If it's not permitted, then there's a chance that insurance may not cover it. In fact, a lot of times insurance will send their own inspectors out there and take a look at the property sometimes to make sure that it's what's being described to them so they know what they're insuring. Especially if it was built without some kind of a builder, a certified builder. So if it was a DIY thing, even though it was a permitted thing, the county or the insurance company still may send an inspector out there just to make sure it was, it's still okay. If it was a structure that was added on to a permitted place, and that part is the part that there was electrical fire that started, there's a good chance that your insurance won't cover any of the claim at all. So if you have insurance, be concerned that you might not be covered at all, depending on if you have permits, if you don't have permits, if it was built after, and all kinds of factors. So, but yeah, building codes, they're not a bad thing, folks. I got the basic building codes here. I'll be doing some things without certain building codes, but I've gotten the permits that make me legal here. So yeah, building codes, permits, they're not a bad thing. This is Jeff, Arizona Hot Homestead, and you've been watching Today with Arizona Hot Homestead, or should I call it Concho's Corner. Thank you for watching the video all the way through there. I appreciate you doing so. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and make a comment. and you've been watching Jeff with Arizona Hot Homestead.